This is an inventory spreadsheet, and this is the app I built from it. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how we go from this to this in just a few minutes without writing a single line of code. I'm partnering with Glide on this video to show you how easy it is to turn a basic spreadsheet into a working app. Let's get started. Here's the spreadsheet. We've got sheets for products and another one for transactions. And in Excel, we'd normally need another sheet for inventory with formulas like lookups to bring in the product information and SUMIFs to calculate stock on hand. But in Glide, we don't need this. So I'll right-click and delete the inventory sheet. I'm just going to upload transactions and the products. Let's go into Glide and click on New App. Under Start with Data, I want to import a file, and it's an Excel file. It's this one here. Double-click to select it and continue. Glide is now importing the data and turning it into an app. And that's in real time. Incredible. We're currently in Layout View displaying the app screen for the products. We also have an app screen for the transactions. And we can further tweak these app screens and forms your users interact with, which we'll do later. The other view we'll flip between is the data view, and this is where we see the tables, much like we have in Excel. And this is where you set up your relationships and calculations without actually writing formulas. We're going to start by building the logic in the data view of the transactions table. I'll start by checking that the date format is correct. Just double click on the date column. We can see the data type is date and time. That's fine. We only want to display date, but let's change the format to short and click Save. All right, now remember I deleted the inventory sheet in Excel. So let's build the logic Glide needs to calculate the inventory on the fly. You'll be pleased to know it's easier than Excel formulas. To calculate the stock on hand by product and store, we need a key that identifies each combination of product ID and site ID. And we do that with a new column. It'll be called Product Site Key. The type is going to be a computer column, and we want a template. In the template field, we're going to enter the variables that are product ID and site. And then we simply tell Glide which fields are associated with those variables. So product ID is going to be the product ID column, and we need to repeat for site. Site is the site column. And you can see over here a preview of what it's going to return for each row. Looks perfect. Click Save. That job's done. Next, I need a relation to pull every transaction that belongs to the same product at the same store. I'll click the plus to add a new column. We'll call it All Trans for Key. And the type is computed, and it's a relation. I want to relate the product site key where it matches the value in the transactions table product site key. And we're going to match multiple. You can see the first record has 2 transactions with the same product site key, and this one here has 3 transactions with the same product site key. Click Save, and now I can calculate the stock on hand. In Excel, we'd reach for SUMIFs, but in Glide, we use a roll-up that sums quantity for all matching transactions. I want to add a new column. We're going to call it Stock on Hand. The type is computed, and it's a roll-up. We're going to summarize the values in the All for Trans key, and we want to summarize the quantity. We're going to sum them, and we can leave the rest as is and click Save. And now we can see the stock on hand for each product site key. Right now, we've got product IDs in this table, which are great for integrity, but not great for humans. So let's pull in the product name and image from the products table. To do that, we need to create another relation from our transactions table to our products table. So I'll call this relation products. The type is computed, and it's a relation. We're going to relate the product ID column in this table to the products table product ID and click Save. If I click on this, we can see all of the information relating to product 001, and I can extract this data to additional columns in the transactions table. So let's do that for the product name. The type is computed, and we're looking it up. Where are we looking it up? In our relationship to the products table, product name column. Looks good. Let's save that, and we'll repeat for the product image. The type again is computed, and it's a lookup. We're looking it up in the relationship image column, and save. I think you'll agree this is super easy so far. We haven't written a single formula. It's all point and click. Now that we have the logic working, let's go into the layout view and we'll make it look like an app. Now I like the transactions list to read like a clean log. We've got the transaction ID up top, but then we've got no more information. So let's make this a bit more user-friendly. On the right, you can choose different layout styles. We can make it a card, a list, table, etc. I'm happy with the list. You can see it's already brought in the image for me. But down here, instead of product ID, let's put the product name. Scroll down to product name. And from this screen, we'll allow users to add items and edit items, and we'll come back to that a bit later on. Next, we'll create an inventory screen that shows stock on hand. It's a summary view of the transactions table. Same data, different presentation, and this is where it starts to feel like a real tool. To add a new screen, click on the plus beside navigation, and we want custom screen. Over on the right, we can choose the source. I want it to pull on the transactions, and we'll call this inventory. I'm happy with the card layout. And down here, instead of transaction ID in the title, let's pull in the product site key. And instead of product ID in the description, let's bring in the product name. In the meta, we'll bring in the stock on hand. And we'll leave the image as is. Now in this screen, I don't want people to be able to add or edit items, so we'll turn those options off. Now your inventory view lives on its own screen, and your users can quickly browse to find what stock they have on hand in each store. Now we need to make data entry easy for someone on the ground to add sales or receipts of new stock. We do that in the transactions view. Click the plus to add a new item. Now Glide has already generated a form based on the columns in my table, but you don't have to accept the default. The goal is a quick, mistake-proof form. We've already got the transaction ID field, but for this demo, I want to keep it simple and have Glide assign a unique identifier for the transaction. So I'm going to delete that field, click on Components. In this pane, Glide gives you a wide range of components, so you can completely customize how your form behaves and how users interact with it. Here, I'm just going to scroll down to Special Values and insert a unique identifier. You don't see it added to the screen because the user doesn't need to interact with that. It's just going to be added automatically. And if we click on it, you can see it's going to be added to the transaction ID column. So no need to change that. It's interpreted correctly. The date field is already a date picker. That's perfect. We can toggle the slider to make it required. Then for the product ID, I want that to be a drop-down list. So we'll delete that and we'll add a new component that is a choice. Over here, we're going to write it to the product ID, and the source is going to be the products table, product ID column. And you can see it's already set to drop down, which will work perfectly because there's quite a few options. Let's drag it up under date. Next, we've got site. Now this we should also make a choice, so let's delete that and we'll add a new choice component. We're going to write it to the site column. The source will be the transactions table, that's fine, and the values are going to come from the site column. We don't need an image, we'll remove that. And here, instead of a drop down, let's make it chips. You can see there's only 3 of them, so that'll make it quick and easy to select. We'll drag it up underneath product ID. Then we have quantity, which is a number field, that's perfect. The type is whether it's opening stock, a sale, or a receipt. So this can also be a choice. We'll delete that one, add a new field, that's a choice. We're going to write it to the type column. Coming from the transactions table, the values are going to be type. We don't need an image. And again, we're going to make it chips because there's only 3 of them. Let's bring that up closer to the top. So we go date, then what type of transaction, the product ID, the store, the quantity, and we don't need the relation to products. Let's delete that. Now one last finishing touch. For the quantity, number's correct, but in the placeholder, I'm going to insert a little tooltip that tells the user sales entered as negative values and stock received as positive. And now you can see that on the face of the app. So that's it. My data entry form is ready to go. Let's test it out. First, I'm going to go to my inventory view, and we can see that our first product store combination have 48 units in stock. Let's go to our transactions view and we'll add a new item. We're going to select today's date. This is going to be a sale of product 1 at store A, and we've sold 2, so it's entered as a negative. Click submit. Now let's go back to our inventory, and you can see our stock on hand has automatically updated to show we only have 46 in stock now. We're now ready to publish the app and share it with our users. And this works perfectly if you're entering transactions manually, but in settings and then integrations, you can connect Glide to other apps and automate what happens when something changes. So instead of someone typing in every stock receipt or sale, you could automatically record transactions from your point of sale system, an online store, or even an email. So your inventory automatically updates itself in the background. In less than 10 minutes, we've gone from a simple Excel spreadsheet to a fully working app without writing a single line of code. Imagine what you could build. If you've got a spreadsheet sitting on your desktop that deserves to be an app, this is your sign. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm partnering with Glide on this video. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try it for yourself. It's an affiliate link, which means I may earn a small commission if you sign up at no extra cost to you. Start with one of your own Excel files, or download the Excel file I used in this demo and build from there. Same data, new level.